On Wednesday night, during the season premiere of Everybody's Live with John Mulaney, the iconic folk singer and activist Joan Baez delivered a moment that will be remembered for years to come. In a rare, unfiltered outburst on live television, Baez paused the show just as John Mulaney was ready to get the audience laughing, and instead set forth a searing critique of American leadership. With a voice that has long been a beacon of truth and protest, she warned that our democracy is going up in flames, and blamed a cabal of incompetent billionaires for the dire state of US politics. In this extensive expose, we're taking you step by step through the events of that unforgettable night, delving into the context behind Joan's powerful words, examining the reactions from both the studio and the public, and exploring the larger cultural and political implications of her message. We'll also analyze her anecdotes, including the story she shared about once owning a Tesla that ended in a crash, and put her remarks in perspective against the backdrop of today's turbulent political landscape. So sit back and prepare for a roller coaster ride of history, activism, pop culture, and hard-hitting commentary that shows no one is safe from Joan Baez's truth. It was a typical Wednesday on Everybody's Live with John Mulaney, a show known for its quirky humor, celebrity interviews, and a playful atmosphere that invites both laughter and lighthearted banter. But on this particular evening, something shifted. As Mulaney introduced the next segment with his signature witty charm, Joan Baez, who had been a guest on the program, took center stage in a way no one could have anticipated, before launching into a story about the late civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., whom she affectionately described as a funny person in her uniquely candid manner. Joan paused the show. With a measured calm that belied the intensity of her words, she told Mulaney, "You said I could say anything I want out here." And then, with that simple statement, she launched into a scathing commentary on the state of American leadership. Her message was clear. While the studio audience was primed for jokes and playful conversation, there was a much graver reality unfolding outside the studio walls. Joan declared, "Our democracy is going up in flames. We're being run by a bunch of really incompetent billionaires." Although she did not mention any names explicitly, her pointed tone left little doubt that she was referencing the likes of President Donald Trump and tech moguls like Elon Musk, figures whose policies and public actions, in her view, were undermining the very foundations of American democracy. For over 5 decades, Joan Baez has been synonymous with activism, protest, and an unyielding commitment to social justice. Born into a turbulent era of civil rights struggles and political upheaval, she rose to prominence as a folk singer whose music became anthems of resistance. Her career has been defined not only by her art, but by her willingness to speak truth to power, often at great personal risk. In her appearance on Mulaney's show, Joan used that same platform to pivot from entertaining to enlightening. She paused the merriment of a talk show that thrives on humor to deliver a message that was as damning as it was timely. The context for her outburst is rooted in her lifelong battle for justice, a battle that has seen her stand up against war, injustice, and economic inequality. Now, in the midst of a political climate marked by growing wealth inequality and a sense of disillusionment among the American public, Joan's words served as a rallying cry. Her interruption was not an act of anger for anger's sake. It was a calculated, heartfelt moment designed to remind us all that behind every laugh and every lighthearted joke lies a reality too serious to ignore. As she recounted a memory of Martin Luther King Jr., whom she noted was funny despite the gravity of his mission, she used humor as a segue into the harsh truths of today's political landscape. In doing so, she bridged the gap between the past and the present, evoking the spirit of activism that once fueled the civil rights movement and that still burns bright in the hearts of those fighting for a fairer society. Our democracy is going up in flames, and that we're being run by incompetent billionaires. She was not merely offering a political opinion, she was making a seismic statement about the state of the American dream. For decades, the promise of democracy in the United States has rested on the idea that power lies with the people. Yet in recent years, that power seems to have shifted into the hands of an elite few, whose vast fortunes and unchecked influence have left many Americans feeling disenfranchised. Joan's critique resonates deeply in today's socio-political climate. The billionaire class, often seen as untouchable and above the fray, has come under increasing fire for policies that exacerbate wealth inequality and undermine public services. When tech giants like Elon Musk make sweeping changes that slash federally funded programs, or when political figures are seen as detached from the everyday struggles of ordinary citizens, the public's trust in democracy erodes. Joan's words cut to the heart of that crisis, urging viewers to recognize that the unchecked power of a few is not only unsustainable but actively destructive. Her call to arms is as clear as it is uncompromising. If we are to save our democracy, we must confront the reality that those in power are failing us. In a moment of unfiltered honesty, she reminds us that humor and levity are only sustainable when we acknowledge the underlying issues that threaten our collective future. By drawing attention to the incompetent billionaires at the helm of American leadership, Joan challenges us all to question the status quo and to demand accountability from those who have too much power. In a surprising twist of personal anecdote, Joan Baez recounted an experience that many of us can only laugh at in hindsight, a short-lived affair with one of Elon Musk's Teslas. I once owned one of his Teslas after a recommendation from my assistant, she revealed, her tone mingling disbelief with humor. I hated that thing, she declared, in a moment that could only be described as the epitome of irony. She recalled how she drove the car and, within 45 minutes, ended up smashing it into an oak tree on her property. This story, seemingly trivial on the surface, is laden with symbolic meaning. It represents the clash between modern technology and human fallibility, the idea that even the most innovative inventions can become instruments of chaos when they fail to align with our everyday realities. For Joan, the wrecked Tesla was a sign, a metaphor for the many ways in which the promise of progress can sometimes lead to unintended disastrous consequences. Her tale of automotive misfortune is a perfect counterpoint to her larger critique of modern leadership. Just as the Tesla, a symbol of cutting-edge technology and futuristic ambition, failed to live up to its promise in her personal experience, so too do the actions of our incompetent billionaires threaten to derail the very foundations of our society. In both instances, the gap between grand promises and real-world outcomes is stark and deeply unsettling. Interruption on live television is an art form, one that requires impeccable timing, conviction, and the willingness to upend the status quo. When Joan Baez paused John Mulaney's talk show, she transformed what could have been a routine segment into a historic moment of protest. "You said I could say anything I want out here," she reminded Mulaney, setting the stage for a declaration that would reverberate far beyond the confines of the studio. Live television, with its unpredictable energy and unfiltered spontaneity, offers a unique platform for voices like Joan's. In that brief pause, she captured the collective attention of millions, forcing viewers to confront the grim realities behind the laughter. Her interruption was more than a mere diversion. It was an act of defiance, a reminder that even in an environment designed for levity, the weight of truth cannot be ignored. The impact of such interruptions cannot be overstated. They serve as a wake-up call to audiences, jolting them out of their comfortable routines and urging them to question the world around them. In Joan's case, her bold words, delivered with passion and unwavering clarity, sparked a surge of conversation both on air and online. Fans, critics, and fellow artists alike were left pondering her message, debating its implications, and reflecting on the current state of American leadership. It is a moment that epitomizes the power of live television as a medium for social change. Throughout her career, Joan Baez has demonstrated that art and activism can be potent tools for social change. Her music once stirred the souls of millions during the civil rights movement, and now her words on a modern talk show are challenging the very fabric of American politics. In an era when so much of our discourse is dominated by sound bites and social media posts, her thoughtful, measured protest is a refreshing reminder of the power of genuine, unfiltered truth. By pausing the show to address the state of our democracy, Joan blurred the lines between entertainment and activism. She reminded us that even in a setting designed for laughter and levity, there is always room for serious reflection. Her message is a call to action, urging us all to harness our collective voice to demand better from our leaders and to fight for a future where democracy is not compromised by greed and incompetence. In doing so, she has sparked a conversation that goes far beyond the confines of the talk show studio, one that will continue to reverberate in political debates, social movements, and everyday discussions about what it means to be a responsible citizen in today's world. As we consider the lasting impact of Joan Baez's interruption, it is impossible not to wonder about the future. Will her powerful message inspire a new wave of activism? Can her words serve as a catalyst for meaningful change in American leadership? While the answers remain uncertain, one thing is clear: the need for bold, uncompromising voices has never been greater. In the coming months and years, as the debate over billionaire influence and the health of our democracy continues to intensify, Joan's intervention may well be remembered as a turning point, a moment when a beloved icon dared to speak out against the forces that threaten to undermine our collective future. Her words serve as both a warning and a beacon of hope, challenging each of us to look beyond the surface and to fight for a society that is just, equitable, and accountable. The future of American democracy depends on the willingness of individuals to stand up and demand change. In this regard, Joan Baez's actions on John Mulaney's show are a rallying cry, a call for all of us to remain vigilant, to question authority, and to never lose sight of the values that underpin a free society. The annals of American protest and activism, few moments are as powerful as the one we witnessed on that Wednesday night. Joan Baez's interruption on Everybody's Live with John Mulaney was not just a fleeting moment of anger, it was a declaration, a statement of urgency that resonates with the timeless struggle for justice and equality. Her words, our democracy is going up in flames, cut to the very heart of the issues facing our nation. They remind us that while laughter and entertainment are essential parts of life, they cannot obscure the harsh realities of political and economic inequality. In a world where the voices of a few powerful billionaires often drown out the concerns of the many, her message is a call to action, a reminder that the fight for a better, more inclusive future is far from over. As we close this extensive expose, we are left with a renewed sense of purpose. Joan Baez's fearless act of protest is a beacon for all who believe in the power of truth, the importance of accountability, and the enduring strength of a democracy that is built on the foundations of justice and compassion. It is a moment that will echo through time, inspiring future generations to stand up for what is right and to never settle for anything less than a government that truly serves its people. If you like this news and want more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends. Until next time, sensationalist family. Journalists and political commentators have since dissected every aspect of the incident. Articles in major publications have explored the implications of her remarks for American politics, while opinion pieces have debated whether her approach is a call for revolution or merely an emotional outburst in troubled times. The sheer volume of commentary serves as a reminder that in our current era, no public statement goes unnoticed, and that voices like Joan Baez's continue to spark debate long after the cameras stop rolling. To fully appreciate the impact of Joan Baez's interruption, it is essential to consider the historical context from which her message emerges. In the 1960s, Joan's music became synonymous with the civil rights movement, a time when speaking out against injustice was not only necessary but life-changing. Over the decades, she has remained a steadfast critic of power, whether in the form of political corruption, economic inequality, or cultural complacency. Her words on John Mulaney's show echo the protest anthems of her youth, drawing a direct line between the struggles of the past and the challenges of the present. "Our democracy is going up in flames," she declared, a statement that resonates with those who remember the fervor of the 1960s and with a new generation that sees similar fires burning today. It is a reminder that while times may change, the fundamental need for justice, accountability, and compassion remains constant. The historical weight of her words is further amplified by the fact that she speaks as someone who has not only witnessed but helped shape some of the most pivotal moments in American history. Her legacy as a musician and activist lends her message an authority that few can match. In a world increasingly dominated by social media soundbites and superficial commentary, Joan Baez's thoughtful, measured protest stands as a beacon of integrity, a call to remember that the fight for democracy is never over. Joan Baez's dramatic interruption has set off ripples that extend far beyond the realm of television. Her scathing remarks about the incompetent billionaires running America have reignited a national debate about the concentration of wealth and power in our society. In an era when a small elite holds sway over the policies that affect millions, her words serve as a powerful indictment of a system that many believe is failing the public. The issue of billionaire influence is one that has dominated political discourse in recent years, from heated discussions about campaign finance reform to calls for greater regulation of big tech and finance. Joan's intervention is a reminder that this debate is not just theoretical, it has real, tangible consequences for the everyday lives of Americans. Her message challenges us all to reconsider the balance of power in our society and to demand a future in which democracy is not undermined by the unchecked ambitions of the ultra-wealthy. This broader impact is reflected in the public's response, which has been both passionate and polarized. For many, Joan's words are a rallying cry, a call to action that inspires hope and a desire for change. For others, they are a source of discomfort, a stark reminder of the deep divisions that continue to plague our political system. Whatever one's perspective, there is no denying that her message has struck a chord, prompting a renewed examination of what it means to govern in a modern democracy. At the heart of Joan Baez's outburst is a deep concern for the state of American leadership. Her reference to incompetent billionaires is not a random attack. It is a carefully chosen critique of a leadership model that many argue is increasingly detached from the needs of the people. Whether it is the erratic policies of certain political figures or the disruptive actions of tech moguls who seem more interested in personal gain than public welfare, there is a growing sentiment that the current system is failing. Joan's words challenge us to look beyond the headlines and to question the very foundations of our government. They compel us to ask tough questions. Who truly has our best interests at heart? Are the leaders of today capable of addressing the complex challenges of our time, or are they simply perpetuating a system that favors wealth and power over accountability and compassion? In these moments of introspection, her protest becomes more than just a critique. It becomes a call for a radical reimagining of American governance. Her message is a stark reminder that the health of a democracy depends on the integrity of its leadership. As citizens, we must remain vigilant and demand that those in power are held accountable for their actions. Joan Baez's intervention is a powerful testament to the idea that change is possible, but only if we are willing to confront the uncomfortable truths about our society head on.